I've been spending out the time, couple women by my side. I got sinning on my mind, sipping on red wine. I've been sitting here for ages, ripping out the pages. How'd I get so faded? How'd I get so faded? Oh, no, no, don't leave me lonely now. If you love me,
Aging. Particularly, you know that my audience is 93% female. So we as women have specific problems with aging in the culture. We are not allowed to age, actually. We're always in hot pursuit of youth.
Fading out again, I feel the chemicals burn in my bloodstream. So tell me when it kicks in. Well, tell me when it kicks in.
And because that's what's given respect and attention, and we are made to feel as if we're only valuable when we're young. I'm 67. Because I have something to read to you from Rudolf Steiner. He's a philosopher and a mystic, one of the most I think insightful people on the process of aging. He's the one who founded the Waldorf schools. He has a deep understanding of the different stages of aging, and even within the segments of it, we age progressively in 7-year packets, epochs. Every 7 years, we graduate into another level of maturation. If you permit me to share with you something I find very beautiful on the topic of aging. So, I'll begin. All of us want to have a fulfilling old age, despite infirmities and the diminishing independence associated with the last phases of life. This implies that alongside looking after our physical welfare, we also need to be able to express our soul and spiritual capacities. The elderly are growing closer to the end of their physical lives, and the process of excarnation. I hope you're familiar with that word, excarnation. When we die, we excarnate, preparing to leave the body. That's what the word means. So the elderly are growing closer to the end of their physical lives and the process of excarnation. Just as at the opposite end of the age spectrum, young children are involved in the process of incarnation, of grounding themselves here on earth in their bodies. With young children, up until the age of 9 or 10, there is still a part of them in the spiritual world. With old people, the gradual loosening of the astral body, the soul, and the ego, the self, from the physical body as they move closer towards death. That means that part of their being is also surrounded by spiritual forces. Do you see that? Did you pay attention to that? This is very interesting. It's drawing the similarity between young children and the elderly, and how they are both enveloped still or again in the spiritual envelope.
Voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. So tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart.
Now, in a lecture given just over 100 years ago, Rudolf Steiner spelled out the importance of developing our inner life in old age. And this is the quote from his lectures, which I will include later on in the description box so that you can see some of the lectures of Steiner, which are wide-ranging and extremely interesting. So, quote from Steiner on aging. In the future, human beings, the older they get, will need to take in spiritual impulses if they want to be able to grow younger and younger and really develop their inner life. If they do so, they may have gray hair and wrinkles and all kinds of infirmities, but they will get younger and younger, for their souls are taking in impulses which they will take with them through the gate of death. People who relate only to the body cannot grow younger, for their souls will share in everything the body experiences. Of course, it will not be possible to change the habit of going gray or wrinkling, but it is possible for a gray head to gain a young soul from the wellspring of spiritual life. Do you see what he's saying? He's saying that in fact, when we approach old age, if we permit ourselves to dwell on a deeper inner level, that in actuality, what that does is it refreshes the soul, refreshes the spirit, and in my opinion, also makes us look younger. And you can see this in different people who are aged. Some look ill and decrepit, and others look vibrant and sweet. They have a sweetness about them. And this is because they're connecting to deeper levels of their soul. They're getting closer to the spiritual world. And it's a natural process when families were multi-generational, that the children, the young children, loved their grandparents so much, is because they identified with them psychically. And we must, I think, return to a society that embraces old age and brings the qualities of that deeper spiritual attainment that comes with aging into the family, and doesn't push that out into these nursing homes, which, in plain language, good, again, are tragic. I am with Mom, who will be 85 next month, and enjoying the time together. It is a gift and a blessing. Yes, I was having this conversation with someone in our, Joan knows the place, we call it The Bean. It's a local coffee shop. And we were discussing this idea of having aging parents. And a lovely woman who was seated in the table across from me was saying that she was debating whether she should leave here and go up to, I think her parents lived in Connecticut, and they were elderly and going through the stages of decline, physical decline. And she didn't know whether she'd just bought a condo here, and whether she should move completely up there to be by them during this time. And I advised her to go, because that's why I came here to Florida, to be with my parents at the final phases of their life. And there is nothing that I've done in my life more gratifying than that. I feel that my parents gave me more than anything I could have given them. And it's true that I noticed in my parents, particularly my father, because he was less pharmaceutically altered than my mother, that he was going through profound intellectual changes, kind of a freeing up of his mind, so that he could explore intellectually. His curiosity about life was piqued, and I was amazed. He was more informed on rather radical subjects, even than I was, and I consider myself. And in summing all this up, I want to say that in both children and in old people, we can observe a certain helplessness, clumsiness, because they have not yet, or have no longer, the power in their limbs possessed by the fully incarnated adult. Yet, though the bodily forces diminish in old age, there are still positive developments to discover as we prepare for our excarnation. Looking at the life forces in old age, one can see that as they become freer from the predominantly physical tasks, they can be used in the service of further development of thinking. Many famous artists only produced their greatest works when they were very elderly. It seems likely that they were able to do these things because with the increasing age, the path that leads inward progresses on and on, while what's going on in the outside world becomes less important, and everyday events become even less interesting. As we age, greater insights concerning the big questions of life and a new understanding emerges as to what is essential and what no longer matters. The wisdom which comes to many people who've grown old can also benefit younger people. Such wisdom in the last phase of life can be seen as the fruit of having lived consciously while continuing to work on oneself and cultivating a deep inner life. But the fruit also contains the seeds, which is actually what is happening to us in old age. We are developing desires and motives for a new life with the intent to find balance for the past chapter of the life we've just lived. So thank you, everyone. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.
I've been spending out the time, couple women by my side. I got sinning on my mind, sipping on red wine. I've been sitting here for ages, ripping out the pages. How to get so faded, how to get so faded. Oh no, no, don't leave me lonely now. If you love me, how'd you never love me? Color crimson in my eyes, one or two could free my mind. This is how it ends. I feel the chemicals burn in my bloodstream, fading out again. I feel the chemicals burn in my bloodstream. So tell me when it kicks in. Well, tell me when it kicks in. I've been looking for a lover, thought I'd find her in a bottle. God, make me another one. I'll be feeling this tomorrow. Lord, forgive me for the things I've done. I was never meant to hurt no one. I saw scars upon a broken-hearted love. Oh no, no, don't leave me lonely now. If you love me, how'd you never learn? Ooh, color crimson in my eyes, one or two could free my mind. This is how it ends. I feel the chemicals burn in my bloodstream, fading out again. I feel the chemicals burn in my bloodstream. So tell me when it kicks in. Well, tell me when it kicks in. Well, tell me when it kicks in. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. All the voices in my mind calling out across the line. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. Tell me when it kicks in. That's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken heart. So tell me when it kicks in. And that's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken hearted. Well, tell me when it kicks in. And that's so scars upon it. Tell me when it kicks in. Broken hearted.